Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes so sweet and sexy. Have fun and enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. Not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. Is a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes sweet and sassy. Not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Hello again. Hello again. Hello. So many of you were just with me for the big Karen Reed news. So if you weren't, I'll just tell you. Judge Cannone made a decision on the Dr. Russell expert witness testimony and says that Dr. Russell can testify as an expert witness. She is duly qualified to testify with regard to whether or not the injuries to John O'Keefe's right arm were caused by a dog. So there's that good news for the day, and that's a big win for the defense. Today, we're going to start on a new case. We're going to start on a new case, the case of Dr. Ingolf Tuerk, which happens to be also in Norfolk Superior Court in Massachusetts, the same courtroom, maybe the same courtroom, but the same courthouse that Karen Reed is being tried in. In fact, Ingolf Tuerk's case had been assigned to Judge Beverly Cannone, who is the judge on the Karen Reed case, but it was recently reassigned to another judge because Judge Cannone was moved, but Judge Cannone was specially assigned to continue hearing the Karen Reed case, although Ingolf Tuerk's case has now been moved to a different judge, transferred to a different judge. Interestingly enough, the defense attorney for Ingolf Tuerk is Kevin Reddington, who was or still may be Jennifer McCabe's lawyer, who is a witness in the Karen Reed case. And he also is representing Lindsay Clancy, which is another case that I want to get into with you soon, except Lindsay Clancy's case will not go to trial until probably way later in 2025. I want to say something like October. Tuerk's case is going to trial on March 25th of soon, the week before Karen Reed's trial. So that is scheduled to start in only maybe a little over 2 months. So I figure let's get started on that now because we have a lot to catch up on Tuerk. And I was surprised to find that a lot of you have not heard of this case. And when I went on YouTube and tried to find some information so we could go over some background together, there's not a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of information on Tuerk. It hasn't received a lot of news. I haven't seen any other law tubers covering it. So here I am. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. But I thought it would be interesting for those of you who are not familiar with the case. And even if you are, it's Lindsay Clancy's trial date is not until December 1st. Okay, so it's a whole year away. Thank you, Lamassus, because you always have the deets on the sitch. All the stitches, actually. Thank you for hanging around me for 12 months. You're an OG. You're an OG. Thanks, Mama She, who came in with a last-minute Cash App as we were on our way out of the last stream. So, Mama She, if you're here, thank you so very much for always being so kind and generous to this channel. And you guys, all of you who had not subscribed, who are subscribing, thank you, because we gained 40 subscribers since the last show. And if you would hit the subscribe button for me, it's free. I'm trying to get to 75,000. We're at 74,332. That would really help. It's free. Just hit that subscribe button below. Hit the bell so you'll know when I go live, because it's not always with a heck of a lot of notice, and I don't have a regular schedule. So it's fun because we're so spontaneous here, and you guys are so collaborative, and we have a lot of fun, and we have the funniest chat on the internet, and you guys are snarky, and I love it, and you're hilarious, and it's it's tough to get in here, and it's almost a competition who can be the funniest in the chat. So we love it here. We hope you like it here too. Peaches became a member. Unlimited Shock and Horror became a member. Duckin' Tough Tiff became a member. And Not That Susan. Thank you guys for joining. And I think you're going to like being cupcakes because we have a lot of fun here. We have a lot of fun. So when I did do my little deep dive on Tuerk, as I've been prepping this show for a couple of days, and then the fires happened in California, and I had to cover that because I was glued to the coverage, and I just, it felt very tone deaf for me to even try and talk about anything else. But I've already done 2 shows on the fires. Yesterday's show was all about how you can help, whether you're in LA, boots on the ground, whether you can physically volunteer or whether you can help with donations or clothing or water or food from somewhere else. I felt like we needed a show on how to help because so many of you are so kind and generous and you like to help. And we also did, I do have a Venmo. I'll put up the QR code. Thank you for asking. Also, part of that show was just emergency preparedness, what to put in a go bag, what to have for a stay kit in case you have to shelter in place, and a lot of things that a lot of us never had thought about before. But, you know, people in California had literally, some of them, 20 minutes to evacuate. What would you grab? Is it all in a fireproof box that you can just grab your important documents, your passports, your birth certificates, your deed to your house, your insurance papers? You have pictures of all that stuff on your phone. Things that so many people may not know to do. And at least if there's anything to be learned from what happened in California and the devastation and these thousands and thousands of people homeless now, their houses are burned to the ground. The fires have burned more than 2.5 times the acreage of the entire island of Manhattan. If there's anything that we can learn from this, maybe we can learn to at least be prepared ourselves in case, God forbid, anything like this happens to us. So thank you all for participating in those shows. And here we are. We're going to move on to Ingolf Tuerk. Okay, so there's not a lot of information about him, but I thought what would be interesting, he's a robotic surgeon. He's from Germany. And I found a video that is 12 years old. Who is Ingolf Tuerk? Who is Dr. Tuerk? Let's find out from this video 12 years ago, before any of this happened to him. And you're going to get to see what he looks like, listen to him speak. And it's really kind of like an interesting sort of backstory into the man who is now the defendant accused of taking the life of his wife, Katie.
Is not your typical. Dr. Ingolf Tuerk is not your typical surgeon. At 6'3" with an athletic physique, it's easy to see why he was once a member of the German Olympic decathlon team.
Surgery is physical, very demanding work. For hours, you are physically involved in a surgery, and that requires that you're physically fit as a surgeon.
But what makes Dr. Tuerk truly different is his skill at robotic surgery. He is convinced that robotic surgery leads to better outcomes for his patients.
Robotic surgery is certainly a significant advantage over any handheld surgery that's minimally invasive, small incisions, therefore less trauma, less pain, faster recovery. But also, more importantly, the robotic surgery allows a very precise surgery.
I feel like we're watching like the intro to The Golden Bachelor. The narration, oh sweetie, no, it's hilarious. Like she's like introducing him, like, you know, Dr. Tuerk is from wherever he's from, Dover, Massachusetts, and let's hear a little bit about him. And then, you know, he's going to come in and try and get a rose from the Golden Bachelorette or something. It's hilarious.
Physical, very demanding work. For hours, you are physically involved in a surgery, and that requires that you're physically fit as a surgeon.
Oh, did I
But what
rewind that by
makes
mistake?
Dr.
Sorry.
Tuerk truly different is his skill at robotic surgery. He is convinced that robotic surgery leads to better outcomes for his patients.
Robotic surgery is certainly a significant advantage over any handheld surgery that's minimally invasive, small incisions, therefore less trauma, less pain, faster recovery. But also, more importantly, the robotic surgery allows a very precise surgery.
As director of Steward Healthcare's robotic assisted surgery department, Dr. Tuerk is way ahead of the curve. St. E's is one of the region's
it is Mary
busiest.
Richardson. You are correct. Yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. That's going to get me stricken. There's also some videos on YouTube of Dr. Tuerk doing actual surgery. I don't like to watch surgery videos personally, but I found 1 or 2 videos of him actually doing robotic surgery. And I thought, you guys can go look for that later if you want to, but that graphic photo, which really is just a surgery video, it's probably going to get me stricken, but so if it's cut out later, you'll know why. Here's a little more of him speaking so you can just get to know Dr. Tuerk a little bit.
Undergoing robotic surgery compared to open surgery.
How are you?
Tuerk, how are you?
Good seeing you.
Good. How you feel?
I'm feeling good.
As much as robotic technology helps the patient heal faster, Dr. Tuerk believes a close relationship between patient and doctor is imperative.
Really?
Charles Gill came down from Maine to St. Elizabeth's for his prostate surgery.
You're awesome.
Within a few hours, Dr. Tuerk has him up and walking.
This is so staged right now because I don't know that Dr. Tuerk would be. I don't know that any surgeon is going to have enough time to be walking the patient down the hallway. That's usually something that a nurse or a PA or the PT department might do. But it was a good shot for this little piece that they're doing here. Let's see.
School principal from Norwood.
I was fortunate enough that I found Dr. Tuerk.
All right. So this was something that was published. When was this published? Oh, it's in my playlist, so I can't see. But it said something like 12 years ago. So I just thought that would be interesting for you to hear him speak because unless he testifies, you're not going to hear him speak again.
They are very concerned, they are worried, and they need time with the physician to talk about their problems, issues, questions. And I'm a doctor who's not cutting the time short.
So there's that. Then there is that. I found this video of him doing surgery, which, see, why did I show that? I'm getting in trouble. Yuck.
He was found in this pond.
This goes back to his original arrest. Let's take a look at this. This is Channel 5 WCVB.
He was found in this pond behind me right here at around 11:30 last night. But tonight, several questions remain about how this happened and why. Dr. Ingolf Tuerk in police custody right now, accused of killing his wife, 45-year-old Kathleen McLean. McLean had gone missing a few days ago, and after days of searching nearby woods, her remains were found last night in this pond near Francis Street in Dover. The pond just a half-mile away from their Dover home. Earlier today, a friend came by dropping off flowers and this stuffed bear, telling News Center 5 it's a sad situation.
It's very unfortunate. I mean, in this neighborhood here, everybody's so close and knows each other that, yeah, it's terrible.
Tuerk is a urologist specializing in robotic surgeries. This is him speaking with Chronicle a few years ago. Last year, he agreed to pay a $150,000 fine after Attorney General Maura Healey says he falsely billed Mass Health for equipment not being used in procedures.
Yeah, so Maura Healey investigated him. They said he had to pay $150,000. I thought it was like $119,000. So he had that issue in 2019, and then he had this issue of allegedly strangling his wife and then putting her body in that pond that you just saw in 2020.
Dover, Dedham, and state police are investigating. Those who live nearby the house and where the victim's body was found are surprised and saddened.
It's really sad, and it's Dover, right? So you don't think anything like that is going to happen here.
Now, Tuerk will be arraigned tomorrow on murder charges. We're live in Dover this evening. I'm Peter Iliopoulos, WCVB, News Center 5.
All right, so that's that. And then this.
Surgeon.
was also right from the very beginning, CBS Boston, WBZ.
Dover surgeon is now facing a murder charge in the death of his wife. Dr. Ingolf Tuerk, seen here in a story we did in 2015, was arrested over the weekend after the body of his wife, Kathleen McLean, was found in a pond near their home. She had accused him.
She's 45. I want to know what she's drinking because I want some of that fountain of youth. They were only dating for a couple of years before they got married. So whatever, she's definitely in her 40s in this picture.
Accused him of domestic violence several times. Prosecutors said today.
Wait, let's take that back.
Over the weekend after the body of his wife, Kathleen McLean, was found in a pond near their home. She had accused him of domestic violence several times. Prosecutors said today when they found Tuerk, he had cuts on his wrists and had to be given Narcan. Tuerk is a well-known urologist who used to work at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Brighton. A man in his late 40s.
Robotic assisted surgery made him famous, but murder charge.
Oh, you know who that is, and I just can't listen to her. But this is pretty much kind of everything that we've already talked about. This was a little court TV piece that they did, and that person wouldn't really like to listen to her. So we're going to go to documents now. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go to documents. Okay, so the first thing that I would like to look at, I don't know how far Dover is from 34 Fairview, but it's the same. It's Norfolk County. It's Norfolk County. So it's this case is being tried in Karen Reed's courthouse. Judge Cannone was assigned to it, Michelle, if you weren't here before. Now she's not. It's been moved to a different judge. His trial is going to start the week before Karen Reed's case. And they recently made a motion. They want a buffer zone. Kevin Reddington wants a buffer zone because he was there, he said, during the Karen Reed trial, coincidentally representing Jennifer McCabe. And he does not want the jury in his case to be influenced by the supporters outside who will be out there, he is sure, on the Karen Reed trial, which is supposed to be happening at the same time. Okay, if you're sending me emails during the show, I can't stop what I'm doing to read your emails or anything, so thank you. This is document number 3 in this case. Oops. Notice that we are up to, in the Karen Reed case, something like 453. This is document number 3. So what I'd like to do today, we're obviously not going to be able to cover everything in this case in one day, but I'd like to go over the Commonwealth statement of the case. So they're going to tell us what their theory of the case is, and then go over the defendant's statement of the case. And if we have time, no, he's been in jail the whole time. There's no bail for him. No bail for him. I mean, if anybody knows any differently, I believe he's been in jail since his, he's charged with first-degree murder. It's the difference between Karen Reed and Ingolf Tuerk. And also, he allegedly confessed. So there's that. He's charged with first degree, but we're going to see as we go through the papers that his defense attorney has filed that I think the best they're going to try and be able to do is try and get him second degree. So it's interesting. Hang on one sec. I saw a message go by that I wanted to star and now I can't. All right. Rehab Department Group says Dover is between Westwood and Needham, aka 2 towns away from Canton. Oh, people have said it's a very wealthy community. His house looks lovely. Mastad says it's about 20 minutes away from Canton, a few wealthy towns away, says the potted plant. And that is interesting. Mary Effin Poppins says, I'm always amazed when I hear the innocent statement of, I can't believe it happened so close to me. Stay vigilant, folks. No place is exempt. You are correct. Yes, he did. Yes, Gen Xer Meg. And apparently, when Will was in the courthouse, he ran into Kevin Reddington, and Kevin Reddington said something like, oh, yeah, I'm defending this guy who allegedly put his wife in a pond or something like that. I don't remember exactly the quote, and I don't want to misquote him, but he did make a joke, and Will thought he was funny, thought Kevin Reddington was a nice guy. And look, must be a great lawyer because he's representing Lindsay Clancy too. So let's go. This is the Commonwealth statement of the case in the Commonwealth versus Ingolf Tuerk. Remember also too, I know I keep interrupting myself, but remember also too that in the Karen Reed case, the Commonwealth kept changing their statement of the case. I think when we did all the pretrial stuff, we read at least 3 different versions of their statement of the case, and they kept changing their theory. The first theory was something like she made a 3-point turn. The second theory was, it wasn't until like 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 theories in that they came up with the 60 feet in reverse at 24.2 miles an hour. Right? Remember, there was a 3-point turn in there at one point. It was crazy. So apparently, I guess in Massachusetts, the upside down, the Twilight Zone. We have emojis, members, for that. And you can give me some Twilight Zone emojis in the chat. We'll see what emojis we can use for this trial. Got solo cups. We got them all. We got everything. All right. They changed the time, right? And Karen Reed, they changed the time of the alleged motor vehicle accident for which there is no motor vehicle accident report. They changed a lot of things. Difference between first and second degree is jail time. We'll go over that later. I'll pull up the Massachusetts statute. I'm admitted in New York. My guess is that first degree requires intent. Second degree could be intent or it could be negligent, but first degree will get you a lot more time in jail. And I don't want to misquote it or misquote the law to you, but that is a great question. We can pull up the statute later. All right. The Commonwealth presents the following summary of facts. And it's not stamped, but this was filed August 19th of 2020. You know how much I love a red pen. I haven't even marked this up yet. That's how fresh this is. The Commonwealth presents the following summary of facts. This statement is not intended to serve as a bill of particulars or otherwise limit the evidence in the Commonwealth's case. On Friday, May 15th of 2020, family and friends of Kathleen McLean, they called her Katie, so I'm going to call her Katie when we're just talking, but Kathleen, she is in pleadings, the 45-year-old victim, became concerned when they were unable to locate her. Her 3 children had spent time with her the previous day and evening before going to bed in the Dover home they shared with her. In the morning when they awoke, they were unable to locate her. Calls to her cell phone were not answered nor returned. This was all highly unusual, and shortly before 11 a.m., the children's father, Stephen Rocca, R-O-C-C-A, contacted Dedham Police to report the concerns and request a well-being check at the residence inn. Mr. Rocca was aware that the victim's husband, Ingolf Tuerk, the defendant, was living at the residence inn because a court order prohibited him from having contact with Miss McLean. Mr. Rocca also informed police that at 4:31 a.m., the defendant texted a family friend saying, so he's saying that Tuerk texted a family friend saying, "Kurt, I'm sorry, brother, but she's a vindictive devil. She played us all. I'm really sorry, brother, but she manipulated us all. Love you, Harry." So apparently Ingolf Tuerk, his nickname is Harry. It's like Michael Proctor's nickname is Chip or Bear. The defendant in this case is also known as Harry. Footnote 1 says, Harry is the defendant's nickname. Dedham Police responded to the residence inn and found the defendant unresponsive with wrist lacerations consistent with self-harm and cuts on his arms and legs consistent with scratches from brush. The defendant was transported to Norwood Hospital. Dedham Police contacted Dover Police and the Massachusetts State Police assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. Guess who that is? You know, if you're following Karen Reed with me, you know who the Massachusetts State Police assigned to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office are. So many of them are also players in the Karen Reed case. We'll get there. Investigators attempted to locate the victim by pinging her cell phone, searching in wooded areas with the assistance of canines, calling local hospitals, and going door to door in Dedham and Dover. This is interesting, okay? Here's why this is interesting to me. Why are the Massachusetts State Police getting involved for a missing person? I thought they don't get involved until there's a fatality. I have questions. I don't know at what point he confessed, so we'll keep going. Look at them going door to door in Dedham and Dover. Police learned that the defendant had left the Dover house pursuant to court orders in February and then stayed in a variety of locations in Massachusetts and Florida. In early May, communicating through divorce attorneys, the defendant and victim decided to reconcile. However, given the court order, the defendant had rented a room at the Residence Inn. In the days leading up to May 15th of 2020, notwithstanding the court order, the defendant had been staying at the Dover residence. So apparently he moved back into what I believe was his house before they got married, even though there was a court order for him to not be near her. So there's that. The victim's children told investigators that on Thursday evening, May 14th of 2020, they had dinner as a family and played a board game. The children then went to the basement to watch TV until they went to bed, and the defendant and the victim stayed in the living room. During the night, one of the children heard the defendant and the victim arguing. Another child reported hearing thumping, the dog barking, and the defendant walking around. When they awoke the next morning, the children noted the door to their mother's bedroom was locked, black marks on the floor, and that their mother was missing. In the early morning hours of Saturday, May 16th of 2020, investigators executed search warrants for the Dover residence, the Residence Inn, and the defendant's 2 cars parked at the Residence Inn. Investigators found broken glass in the bedroom of the Dover home, strands of the victim's hair, and unusual black marks on the floor in a pattern leading from the bedroom out to the garage. Later that day, Trooper Jeffrey Kotkowski, remind me if he was involved in Karen Reed, because the name is familiar to me, learned that the defendant was awake at Norwood Hospital and went there. The defendant waived his Miranda rights and agreed to speak with Trooper Kotkowski and detectives from Dedham Police. The interview was audio recorded. Imagine that, my friends. Imagine that. In 2020, an MSP trooper audio recorded an interview with a potential defendant. Did they audio record the interview with Karen Reed that they did in Dighton when at her parents' house? No. No, they didn't. Oh, Kotkowski was on Proctor's text chain, says calm down, Tinkerbell. Isn't that crazy that they audio recorded this interview with a defendant all the way back in 2020? Nuts, right? Jamie says audio recorded as they didn't have to protect someone. Scott says probably because he was a suspect. Right, which is interesting because in 2022, they didn't audio record Karen's interview in Dighton, even though she was already guilty in their eyes, right? Makes no sense, but it just goes to show that the MSP has the capability and the knowledge and the wherewithal of what to do in such as investigations like this. Initially, the defendant told investigators that he had limited memories about the previous night and did not know how he came to be in the hospital. However, as they talked, the defendant told Trooper Kotkowski that he and the victim had been drinking and had argued about text messages. The defendant said that the victim had thrown a glass at him and he then strangled the victim. Throwing a glass. Sounds familiar too. They recorded it. I know it's crazy. The investigation, the difference in investigations is glaringly obvious at the point it's sickening. Wasn't Brian Walsh, I think, was 1 year after John O'Keefe's murder. The murder of Katie McLean is almost 2 years prior. So this is May of 2020. He said that when he realized that he had killed her, he panicked and realized he needed to dispose of the body. When asked where he put the body, the defendant again claimed he couldn't remember. The interview continued, and police explained to the defendant that they wanted to recover the victim's body so that her family would have closure. Eventually, the defendant explained that he was aware of a vacant house in Dover which bordered a pond and that he had submerged her body in the pond. The defendant gave Trooper Kikowski specific directions to the vacant house, the pond, and to the victim's body. Well, talk about self-snitching. Guy's a doctor, probably has a lawyer on speed dial because the issue that he had with, Maura Healey and the feds the year prior to this, and the charges that were on him for the fraudulent billing or the equipment or wherever it was, probably had a lawyer on speed dial, but allegedly he waived his Miranda rights. They recorded his interview. He self-snitched within the first, 20 minutes? And never spoke to a lawyer. And I don't know if criminal lawyer Bruce Rivers ever did a video on Tuerk. Does anybody know? I hope he's doing well. His son tragically passed away in November, and we love Bruce Rivers here. He has no idea who I am, but I know who he is. Yes, criminal CLR Bruce Rivers said, who's the lawyer that says self-snitching? Yeah, Bruce Rivers. The freaking house he had been looking at with friends shortly before the incident. Oh, really? He was looking to buy this house? Interesting. Massachusetts State Police and Dover police officers followed the directions and located the victim's body. The victim was approximately 15 to 20 feet from the shore of the pond, partially submerged face down. When her body was recovered, she was clothed only in yoga pants. The defendant had placed 2 rocks weighing approximately 16 pounds in her pants to weigh her down. And she had, I think, chatters, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like some of you are very close to the story. 3 young children. I don't know how young her children were at the time. They were not his children. They were her children. So sad. An autopsy was conducted by Dr. Michelle Matthews and Dr. Anand Shaw at the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. The autopsy revealed a fractured hyoid bone. Think Sandra Birchmore. The bone in your neck that is typically fractured in a strangulation case, not in a hanging. Petechiae in both eyes, which is like broken blood vessels when blood vessels in your eyes burst. Bruises on the neck and within the neck muscle, and bruising on the scalp and brain. The cause of death was determined to be strangulation, and the manner, homicide. It wasn't undetermined, it was homicide. XOXO. For the Commonwealth, Lisa Beatty, Assistant District Attorney. Doesn't say Norfolk County, but it is for Norfolk County. And this is dated August 19th of 2020. So they turned over their statement of the case relatively quickly. He was in custody by May. Within 90 days, I don't know how long it took the Commonwealth to turn over their statement of the case. Yeah, can you believe it? I don't know how long it took them to turn over their statement in the case in Karen Reed, but this was within 90 days. I want to know about those black marks on the floor. Let's see. Did they measure where the body was? Yeah, imagine. What, didn't they say 15 to 20 feet? She was in the pond, so. Thank you, Lisa T, for becoming a new member. Paula, it's been a year, 12 months. Woo, thanks. What the Duck gifted 5 memberships. Congratulations to all of you who were randomly gifted YouTube memberships to the channel, and welcome. I think you're going to like it here. Clamasu says, my train conductor was arrested for murder right after he did the 504. We were chatting and goofing around an hour before his arrest. Crazy. What, today? He was arrested today? That's crazy. Send me the story. Thank you. Thank you, Clamasu, always with the deets. All right, let's take a look at the defendant's statement of the case. So the defense turned over their statement of the case in, let me see the date on this one. Why is this undated? I'll have to go to the docket and see when it was filed. Wait. Mr. Reddington, this is how we do things in Massachusetts. We're supposed to date them, or at least they get stamped. This is docket number 78. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. Because, you know, we like receipts and details here. $2082. All right, this docket number 78 was filed August 8th of 2024. Okay, so 4 years later. So just this past August, he's been incarcerated all this time. Is he in the same as such jail, the county lockup where Aiden Carney was and where Brian Walsh is? Does anybody know? Is that where he is? I did, Cheech. I did hear it. We just did a show about it. You missed it. Go back and watch it. We did a show. I did a show on that at what time? Like 2 o'clock? 1:30. Maybe 1:30? Something like that. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Dr. Russell will be able to testify. Same jail. Same jail. Wow, they have an all-star. I mean, what is in the water in Norfolk County? What is going on, you guys? It's crazy. All right, so here we are. Here is the defendant's statement of the case and really relevant facts. In the Commonwealth versus Ingolf Tuerk. I wanted to know how old the kids were too. I don't know, Carly. If anybody knows, can you put it in? Because the children gave a lot of gave interviews and they gave a lot of information to the police. So I imagine that they were old enough to be interviewed. Emma says, lock your doors no matter where you live. Nobody's immune. Well, Kurt says, not sure what there is to discuss here. Seems cut and dry. Well, I'll listen to their statement of the case. And he might be claiming self-defense. He might be claiming accident. So let's listen. This one, their statement of the case was 4 pages. This one's 24 pages. And we're going to learn a lot more. There's always at least 3 sides to every story, my friends. Always at least 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. Right? Here we go. Statement of the case and subsidiary relevant facts. In December of 2002, Ingolf Harry Tuerk. Oh, wait, I got to get my red pen ready. Sorry, guys. Ingolf Harry Tuerk, hereinafter referred to as Harry. Okay, now we're going to call him Harry. Calling him Harry. Moved to the United States from Germany based on an active recruitment of leading medical facilities in the United States. He was a physician of significant repute, not only nationwide, but internationally. Notice, was. He specialized in and was a driving force in robotic surgery of the prostate. He worked first at Leahy Clinic and later became chief of urology at St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, as well as professor of urology at the Tufts School of Medicine in Boston. Harry was well known far and wide, with many seeking his almost miraculous services. Oh, Harry, you blew it. He was married and had 2 children, subsequently divorced. He resided in Dover, Massachusetts. In November of 2017, Harry met Kathleen McLean on a dating website known as Bumble, while McLean was supposedly in a committed relationship with a married businessman by the name of Hervé Sedky. They had a dating relationship which ultimately culminated in April of 2018, with McLean and her 3 minor children moving into Harry's home in Dover after just 5 months of meeting. They resided in his home continuously from April 2018 to January of 2020. McLean had property in Sudbury, Massachusetts that in 2018 was in the process of being foreclosed on for failure to pay the mortgage. Property taxes were not paid as well. In December of 2018, Harry was removed as chief of urology at St. Elizabeth's Medical Center, ultimately resulting in a leave of absence from work from May of 2019 through December of 2019. By December of 2019, Harry saw his professional future back in Germany as a consultant for a medical robotic company, as well as a faculty member for the Clinic of Urology at the University Medical Center in Leipzig, Germany. Oh, Harry wanted to go back to Germany because maybe they didn't care about his charges that he paid some fines on in the US. On December 7th, 2019, McLean alleged that Harry physically assaulted her and interfered with her ability to breathe. Everything went black, it says in quotes, when in fact, the following happened. All right, this is interesting because this is Harry's side of the story, but I'm sure that there's no affidavit from Harry swearing to all this, and this may lead to the eventual, he may need to testify eventually if he's going to claim this, but who knows, because I haven't read it yet. So let's see. McLean and Harry were wrapping Christmas presents in the family room late that evening. Harry then went to bed upstairs while McLean continued for a while. Harry was sleeping and suddenly got startled because something touched him. He suddenly woke up and turned around while McLean was leaning over him. And in that moment, he pushed McLean off of him. Once Harry was fully awake and realized the situation, he saw McLean holding his phone. He was pinning her on the chest with one hand and took the phone out of her hand. Oh, she got to his phone. She got to his phone and he went nuts, it sounds like. McLean was upset and screaming, "Get off of me." After Harry pulled his hand back, McLean jumped off the bed and was running out of the master bedroom and ran into the bedroom of her daughter, Grace. Well, do we have to name her daughter? And Harry's daughter, Taylor. Harry followed. Both girls were sleeping and suddenly woke up, and McLean was screaming primarily to Grace, "Harry assaulted me and strangled me." Grace responded, "I don't want to hear about it. Please leave me alone." Then McLean and Harry returned to the master bedroom and discussed the events. Well, I'm sure they did more than discuss them. In particular, McLean's recurring habit of snatching Harry's phone without his knowledge to spy on his activities. Harry apologized for his overreaction and both engaged in makeup hanky-panky. Apparently, later when Harry was sleeping, McLean texted several of her friends that Harry assaulted her. No police were called, no reports were filed, and no pictures exist of any claimed injuries or marks. Katie Mick says, "Does any relationship that starts from a dating app not end in unaliving?" Well, I think they should call it fumble. That's what I think. Because it's always a miss or a death. One week later, McLean and Harry traveled to Las Vegas. Oh, that's going to not go well. I can see it already. I can see it already. I haven't read this yet. Harry was attending a medical conference and invited and paid for McLean's trip. On December 14th of 2019, after consuming several alcoholic beverages, in particular Harry, McLean and Harry ended up in a drive-through wedding venue. chapel and were married just 7 days after the alleged assault. Don't ever go to a drive-through chapel in Vegas. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm sorry. This is not funny at all. My thoughts, as always, are with the family of Katie McLean. This is horrible, horrific. But sometimes if we don't try and laugh a little bit through this, we're going to cry. Her kids were teens. It says MP 1485. Look at Unchained Custody. Met her husband on Plenty of Fish. Hook, line, and sinker 18 years ago. Should I be scared? Look at this. Amsters met her husband on a dating app. We will be married 10 years in March. Maybe it works for people. I'm shocked. I'm in shock and horror. Kristen says, how to make a bad situation worse. How to make a bad situation worse. Drew's calls it mumble. Elvis wedding. Les says, Harry, you know those strong drinks put hair on your chest. Right. Avonlea Rising says, I like how they blame it all on her, but he was doing the same things she was. I would submit to you probably worse, but we'll see. Fumble and grumble. Fumble and cringe. That fumble and cringe. All right. Somebody met their wife on a dating app too. This is crazy. 12 years. Oh, thank you, Clerk Jim Clown. We'll go back and we'll look for that later. Arguing against the Taint Team shenanigans. More shenanigans in the Aidan Kearney case. All right. Humor does help decompress the sadness and seriousness. Yes, it does. So that's what we're just trying to do here. McLean celebrated the marriage publicly on social media and claimed that Harry surprised her with a marriage license when in fact the opposite was true. It was a strongly voiced long-time goal of McLean that she wanted to be married to Harry Tuerk. I am wife material. In quotes. And prior to Las Vegas, Harry canceled a planned wedding in August of 2019, which significantly upset McLean, and she complained to a number of people, including Carl Pease, P-E-A-S-E, and Carl with a K. Carl Pease has entered the chat. Okay, so it seems that they were supposed to get married in August of 2019, and Harry canceled the wedding. And then by December of 2019, after the fight a week before, they go to Vegas, drive through the chapel, get her done. Okay. In January of 2020, Harry had planned to move back to Germany, where he had significant job opportunities in the medical profession as opposed to the United States. Yeah, he couldn't practice anymore in the United States. Probably gave up his medical license. I don't know for sure, but we can look that up. It was at this point that there were discussions of divorce and that the relationship was not making it. Already by January? They just got married on December 14th. Oh, I mean, they're saying they're claiming Harry was so drunk. Harry was drunk. What do we know so far? Harry's got an alcohol problem. Harry's got impulse control issues. And Harry was doing something on his phone that made Katie feel the need to look at it constantly. So there's that. Katie was significantly upset, but was holding on to hope that she could convince Harry to continue their marriage. She alleges again that in January of 2020, Harry picked up a pair of scissors and stated, I am the king of the castle. You are only a guest. And went over to Katie, cutting a small piece of her hair. That's creepy. That's a little creepy. She then stated that the cut was noticeable and she put up her hand to stop him and that her hand was accidentally cut with the scissors. The true events were as follows. Okay, so this is his version. Katie and Harry were in the kitchen. Katie again made demands, she having, quote, served him like a wife for 2 years, and she deserved to be rewarded with co-ownership of the house and should enjoy other, quote, benefits of being a wife of a wealthy surgeon. In the subsequent argument, Harry made a sarcastic joke. I am the king of the castle and you are only a guest. Katie got upset, snatched the scissors out of Harry's hand, and approached Harry with the intention to cut his hair. In a defensive move, Harry raised his hands and blocked Katie's hands, and Katie, holding the scissors, scratched herself on one hand accidentally. Katie's son, Sam, was standing in the family room watching television, but heard the argument, but did not witness the scissor accident directly. But McLean immediately convinced Sam that Harry just injured her while attacking her with scissors. Katie took pictures of the scratch on her hand and was sending it via text to several friends, claiming again that Harry had assaulted her. No police were called and no reports were filed. On January 11th of 2020, Katie returned home from getting a massage at Bellasante in Wellesley, Massachusetts. All right, shout out to Bellasante in Wellesley. Anybody ever go there for a massage? She claims that when she arrived home, Harry met her at the door, telling her that he had been calling her and she did not answer. She accused Harry of being upset at her. You have to be ducking around. Then proceeded to grab her and threw her to the ground, causing her to land on her back. The true events were the following. Katie left the house in the afternoon. After several hours of not hearing from her, Harry was wondering where Katie was and used the location app to see where she was. Katie's location app was turned off, making it impossible for Harry to locate her. He's tracking her. He called her several times, as well as sending her several texts with no response. Katie was adamant and demanded repeatedly in the past from Harry to have his location app on in order for her to see where he was. Later that evening, Harry was in the kitchen cooking dinner while Katie finally returned home after approximately 6 hours. It sounds like these two didn't really trust each other very much. Harry remained in the kitchen and asked Katie where she was and indicated he was upset about her turning off her location app and not responding to calls and texts. Harry noticed that Katie clearly had consumed alcohol and was somewhat intoxicated. During the subsequent argument, Katie proceeded to the kitchen island where Harry's phone was located, with the intention to grab his phone with the comment, "I'm sure you were ducking around." As she was taking Harry's phone, Harry turned from the stove and took his phone out of Katie's hand. The momentum of Katie trying to take Harry's phone and pull it toward her, combined with her alcohol intoxication and wearing high heels, made her stumble backwards, falling on her butt without Harry touching her. She immediately screamed at Harry that he assaulted her again and that he pushed her to the ground, when in fact it was all self-inflicted, again centered around Katie trying to take Harry's phone without his consent to examine it. "What are you hiding, Harry? What are you hiding?" Harry denied causing her fall. There were no apparent injuries. Katie remained upset and started texting several people about her accusation that Harry assaulted her again. She alleged to her friend Vanessa Pettigrew on January 11th that Harry threw her to the ground and accused her of cheating. She also texted Pettigrew that Harry was protective of his phone while she was trying to grab it. No police were called, no reports were filed, and no witnesses were present. Let's go to the chat for a minute. Not cupcakes. For the 5, it says, I met my wife in a chat room in 1999. We were married 24 years when she passed away on March 14th of 2024. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for your loss. 24 years. It's a good run. I'm sorry. Tracy, my Marine son, married his wife in a Vegas drive-thru because it was free. It's great. Thanks for the 5. Sherry D. Today, January 13th, 1967, my parents were married after meeting on a blind date in November 1966. My mom, Judy, will be 90 6/7/25. Love him, his name, Dad. Harry, R.I.P. Dad, 75 years young. Oh, happy birthday to your mom when she turns 90. That's awesome. That's a great story. I love it. I love it. Thanks, Sherry, for sharing and for your super chat. Laura says, kind of triggering, but I have you guys. This duck sounds like my ex. CM Libby 1 says, curious, do folks really leave location on all the time? I only turn it on when using mapping app. It is set to always ask and never stay on. Jan X or Meg says, I'm definitely not victim blaming. And of course, no one deserves to have their life taken, but it sounds like both of them had some issues. And then somebody said something, where was that here? Oh, Romy said, every Christmas, my boss gives me a gift certificate to Belisante. I love it there. That's good. All right. Shout out to Belisante. Maybe they didn't want to be involved in this case, but they are. Coffee Nut says, very toxic marriage. My phone and hubby, we both know passwords. Neither has anything to hide. We can look anytime on each other's. That's a very, very certain level of trust that I think these two did not have. Crystal Pond says, okay, don't fuss, but she went from foreclosure to doctor with all the money benefits. There's that. The relationship deteriorated significantly, culminating in an argument between Katie and Harry in front of Harry's children in his son's room, including Katie threatening to tell his children about his alleged DV issues, which was the final straw for Harry. He reached out to a divorce lawyer at the end of January of 2020. Well, that didn't last very long. 6 weeks. He met with attorney Mary LaCivita, LACIVITA, on January 31st, 2020, at her office located in Dedham. Harry asked attorney LaCivita to initiate divorce proceedings. He discussed with attorney LaCivita his concerns that Katie will be upset and become vindictive once she learns that Harry is serious about his intention to divorce her, and mentioned that he expects that Katie will use any tool available to her to counteract Harry's intentions, including a 209A restraining order. On February 2nd of 2020, Katie and Harry had family and friends over for a birthday party for Katie's son, Sam. Prior to the party, Harry informed Katie that he didn't see any future for their relationship, that his professional future was in Germany, and that he was thinking about divorcing her, selling the house, and moving back to Germany later that year. Harry suggested that the children should finish the school year in Dover before he would seek a sale of his house, and that Katie and her children could move into her mother's vacant condo in Belmont, Massachusetts. Oh, Katie's not gonna like that. 1 minute. At the party, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to Germany. You and your kids can move in with your mother, Belmont. I'm going to sell the house. Peace out. At the party, Katie was drunk, and she was telling people that they were getting a divorce and that she and her children had to move out of Harry's house and would move to Belmont. I mean, it was only a 6-week marriage, right? It was a very uncomfortable situation for all present. Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine. Subsequently, Katie and several family members and friends congregated in the vacant living room and had a group discussion about the possible divorce and possible move of Katie and her children into her mother's condo in Belmont. Apparently, the family members expressed support for Katie and confirmed that the condo owned by their mother was currently vacant and would be available for Katie and her children to move into in the summer after the children would have finished the school year in Dover. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Yannetti and Jackson, corruption crushers. These were the ages of Katie's kids at the time. Sophie, 17, 18, Gracie, 12, 13, and Sam. Sam is her son, or Sam is Harry's son? 9, 10. So we got 18, 13, 10. And Kristen says Belmont's still an upgrade from being evicted from her Sudbury house. Okay. Grant, GSE, whose name we do not mention, says Helena Handbasket and Lizzie Proctor are both from Belmont. Isn't that where Wendy Murphy lives too? Yuri's math teacher's back. Where you been, girl? I missed you. Missed you. She is. But Dover to Belmont is a downgrade, says Tazo. And Tazo says that. Yep, Grant and Wendy live in Belmont. Thank you. Okay, so she wasn't going to have to move in with her mother because the condo was vacant. Okay. Once the party guests left, Katie continued to drink and became erratic in her behavior, fluctuating between assaulting Harry verbally and physically and promising her never-ending love for him. You know, I mean, they say men can be victims of DV as well. We're not going to rule it out. We learned in that one of those videos that he's 6'3". I don't know. I don't know how what her height was. She expressed her continued hope that they could work it all out and that Harry should give their marriage another chance. Later that night, when Harry was sleeping, Katie again took his phone without his knowledge or consent and found the conversation between him and the attorney, La Savita, learning that Harry already initiated divorce proceedings and she planned her next move. Uh-oh. I mean, like, all right, this is back in 2020. Did they have face recognition on phones back in 2020? Like, was she holding his phone up to his face? Did he change his password? Did she know his password? I have questions. Did she pick up his finger and use a fingerprint? I don't know. But it seems to be an ongoing problem with these two. On February 3rd of 2020, Harry had an appointment with Jay Hughes from Dover County Properties to discuss his intention to sell his house later that year. Mr. Hughes' office is located right across from the Dover police station. While sitting in Mr. Hughes' office, Harry recognized his Jeep Wrangler being parked in front of the Dover police station. Enter Jeep Wrangler. Wonder if it had rubber duckies in it. He realized that it was Katie apparently making statements. The Dover PD. After he finished his business with Mr. Hughes, and once Katie had left the police station, Harry walked into the Dover police station and tried to make a statement of his own by suggesting to the officer that Katie likely filed a false report and false allegations against him because she had learned overnight that he had filed for divorce and that Katie had stated in the past, "If you try to divorce me, I will put everything on you." She also had made repeated threats in the past towards Harry during arguments that she would call the police in order to intimidate him. Dover police officers were hostile towards him and rather dismissed his concerns. Oh, sweetie, no. If it had duckies in it, then it was obviously used in the commission of a crime. Am I right? You right. You wrong. You wrong. Helena Handbasket says, hope she wasn't dumped in a duck pond. Is today really National Rubber Ducky Day? Is that really a thing? That you're the second, or are you saying that again on chain custody? Is it really a thing? Farmer wants to know, do abusers typically file for divorce? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to it. You wrong, loudmouth. You wrong. Oh, not my national. Everyone's. It is a thing. It is a thing, says Marissa. All right. Happy National Rubber Ducky Day, everyone. We have rubber ducky emojis for that. Let's see some rubber ducky emojis in the chat. Rubber ducky, you're the one. And here's your daily reminder on National Rubber Ducky Day. The Canton PD did a 36-page police report in its investigation of Richard Schiffer for allegedly placing little teeny weeny rubber duckies around Canton, including somewhere within 2 football fields of D&E Pizza, for which he was arrested for several felonies. They did a trash pull at his house. They issued subpoenas and warrants on stickers.com. They went to his place of business and downloaded all the telematics information from his Toyota truck. And those charges were dropped. That same police department did an 8-page report for the murder investigation of police officer John O'Keefe. So there's that. I don't think I have the original police reports on this case. If anybody has them and they can email them to me, that would be an interesting thing to go over together. I will put my here's my email. fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. fanbase@mlittlelaw.com. I cannot be your pen pal. I do not always respond to emails, but I always read them. So there's that. Thank you. As you're always so very kind, collaborative, and amazing. You're amazing. You guys really are the most amazing chat membership viewers on any YouTube channel ever. Prove me wrong. We're getting there. We're getting there. We're almost at 75K. Thank you. Thank you, Slisha. We're getting there so quick. And we're only a little over a year old. So that's awesome. She also had made repeated threats in the past towards Harry during arguments that she would call the police in order to intimidate him. Okay. Dover police officers were hostile towards him and dismissed his concerns. As it turns out, on the morning of January 3rd of 2020, after her unsuccessful attempts to manipulate Harry into continuing with their marriage, as well as after she learned overnight about Harry already having hired a divorce attorney who had started divorce proceedings, Katie went to the Dover police station and told the officer that she intends to divorce Harry and that she's afraid of his reaction when he finds out. She proceeded to give a lengthy statement making allegations against Harry that he has repeatedly assaulted her. She voiced to the officer her intention to file a restraining order against Harry and obtained a 209A protection order from Dedham District Court after one of the Dover police officers drove her to the courthouse. Well, that's a nice service that they provide in Dover. Around noon that day, Katie returned to the house in Dover and found Harry in the kitchen eating lunch. She told him that she wanted it this way and ordered Harry to leave the house. What? She told him that she wanted it. She told him that he wanted it this way. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me yet. He stated that it was his house and he would not leave. Katie was instructed by the Dover police to come to the station, as a result of which they reviewed the order, and Harry was served with the order in his driveway and asked to vacate his home within 15 minutes. Okay, I can see both sides of this. She's a mother with children. They're not going to kick her out of the house. It's the marital residence. Even though her name's not on it, they've been married for like 6 weeks. And Kristen wants to know if I'll drive her to the courthouse. No, but actually I did have somebody who allegedly was a viewer who emailed me and wanted me to buy a plane ticket, fly to California, pick up their son in California who was like 5 or 6, buy him a plane ticket to like somewhere in South America, bring him to South America to meet up with her. And then she would, in exchange, give me 10 acres of land. And then I didn't have to buy the son a plane ticket until like a month later. It was like the wackiest thing. You can't believe the emails that I get. In addition to, I'm so happy you caught a live too, Michelle. People sending me pictures of their dog bites, which I don't open. I can never unsee. I believe you. I believe that you were bit by a dog, and I believe it looks like John O'Keefe's injuries. And it really is National Rubber Ducky Day. It's Kismet, you guys. It's Kismet. It's also National Sticker Day. Stop. Cindy Camp, you must be lying. It is also National Sticker Day. Are you related to Brian Camp? Because I don't know if you are or not, and you don't have to tell us. But Brian Camp's trial and hearing the words not guilty in Hampshire County made us all burst out in tears. We were overjoyed, and it gave us a renewed faith in the Massachusetts legal system, in jury trials, and everything else. So that's crazy. That was an amazing, amazing day that Brian Camp was acquitted up there in Hampshire County, my friends. For those of you who watched that trial with me, was that amazing or what? Gen Xer Meg is like, but if I offer you 20 acres, would that make you say yes? Right. Sarah in Shock and Horror also reminds you that I cannot forward your email to another creator just because you don't know their email address. Oh my God. During the during the Delphi trial, I received at least 10 to 15 emails saying, can you forward this as Andrea Burkhart? I'm like, I'm not your secretary. And I'm sure with a little due diligence, you could probably find your email yourself. And Kat said, I wish Brian Kemp would come on the show. I know. I wish he would. Maybe when he has the chance to decompress from that. His attorney did come on the show. Remember, Tom Kokanowski has come on the show at least once. He's amazing. Oh, Susan's telling us Richard Chipper's hearing is on the 17th Friday in Stoughton District Court. All right, this coming Friday? All right, we'll see if they're going to dismiss those littering charges. Yes, Tom Kokanowski and his cat, George Clooney. His cat was like on his on his shoulder the whole time. It's awesome. Andrea's been somewhere in South America. She's hiking. If you follow her on Instagram, she's has some really cool pictures. And it looks like she's in a beautiful place having an amazing time. Listen, she's got a full-time job. She's not retired like I am. So she doesn't, she's not attached to the YouTube all day and night the way I am for you. So that's where she's been. Marissa wants to know, can you forward my email to 105 people to continue the chain and win $500,000? Yes, I'll allow it. All right, back to the document or we'll never get through it. On February 5th of 2020, Katie claimed that she was unable to recover text messages and pictures from her broken cell phone, indicating to the police that she went to the Apple store and was told that all her passwords to iCloud and emails had been changed. This turned out to be false. The Dover police offered to have a specialist download the content of her phone and secure the evidence, in quotes, but Katie declined and voiced concerns that she would be uncomfortable with that. Oh, she didn't want them downloading her phone. On February 5th of 2020, Katie yet again reports a false violation of the 209A to the Dover police because she alleged that Harry remotely lowered via Nest thermostat the temperature in the house, rendering it uninhabitable. In fact, the only temperature controlled by the Nest thermostat was in the master bedroom upstairs over the garage. The rest of the house had conventional thermostats, which are manually manipulated. The Dover police took Katie's word as fact, did not visit the home to confirm the facts, and determined only based on Katie's accusations that, in fact, a 209A violation had occurred and a warrant was filed against Harry. Isn't that usually how they do it, though? Don't they usually do it ex parte? I don't know. You guys can tell me. I'm a New York lawyer. A Dover police officer called Harry and asked him if he manipulated the house temperature via Nest. Harry's statement that he would not be comfortable answering questions on the phone, and the officer responded, "That's all I need to know," and told him that he should come to the Dover police station, otherwise they would execute the arrest warrant that had already been filed. He was cooperative and indeed drove to the Dover police station. A little after 6 p.m., Katie pulled into the police station and spoke to an officer, giving a statement and alleging, yet again, that she just had a, quote, concerning interaction with Harry. She stated that around 6 p.m., Katie and her daughter, Mary Grace, and her friend were waiting to get a pizza at the Dover Cafe in Dover Center. Okay, anybody ever been to the Dover Cafe? How's their pizza? If they said D&E in this, I would have ducking cracked up. She was waiting outside while the girls went inside. Katie observed Harry's car driving by and alleged that he turned into the mobile gas station and that he was looking at her, which caused her to be afraid. She proceeded to leave the cafe with the girls, entered her car, and immediately drove to the Dover police station to report the alleged 209A violation by Harry. She gave a lengthy statement, and police stated that they would investigate the incident and file additional charges if appropriate. Okay. Update. Unetti and Jackson, the corruption crushers, is mathin'. Correct ages at the time. Sophie was 17, Gracie was 15, Sam was 12. Thank you. Thank you so much. 17, 15, and 12. Chicken parm is mediocre. At Dover Cafe or at DNA? I gotta scroll back and see if anybody anybody has eaten at Dover Cafe. I don't think so. That was that was the second time on the same day that Katie accused Harry of violation of the 209A order. Around 6:20 p.m., Harry arrived voluntarily at the Dover police station with his attorney, Stuart. Oh my God, this cannot be his name. Stuart Revenge, except it's spelled Ravenge. Stuart Revenge. And he regrets not even one letter. Name that movie. We do that all the time. Love that movie. Stuart Revenge, his attorney, and was placed under arrest for the alleged violation of the 209A order by remotely manipulating the temperature in the house just based on McLean's accusations without further investigation into the fact and not looking at the house, its thermostats, as well as the Nest thermostat in the master bedroom. All right, that's a little... Violating the 209A order by remotely manipulating the Nest thermostat and with no evidence of it. We're the Millers. That's it. We're the Millers. It's Ravitch. You mean they spelled it wrong, or am I pronouncing it wrong? I mean, but it says, look, sweet woman, it says Ravenge. I didn't make that up. Maybe it's a typo. I like Revenge. I'm going to call it Revenge. I'm calling it Revenge. I'm calling it as I see it. That is We're the Millers. I'm not making it up. You're making it up, Stephanie. You're making it up. Yeah. No, Mass Dad says, yeah, Stuart Revenge. That's his real name. Sweet woman said they spelled it wrong. I don't know. I'm thinking War of the Roses. Me too. This marriage sounds awful. Patriotic in the house. Lori Lake says, We're the Millers. Jennifer Aniston is the first thing that came to mind. I do prefer men. That is, oh my God, that was so funny. That movie is so funny. I've never watched We're the Millers. Highly recommend if you want to laugh for like 2 hours straight. So funny. Dover police also informed Harry that he is accused of another violation of the 209A order just minutes ago, reported by Katie, of having a concerning interaction with Harry. He was very surprised by both accusations. He stated that he was staying with a friend at Buttercup Lane in Dover. And in order to get to the Dover police station, he had to drive through Dover Center. He was completely unaware that Katie and her daughter were at the Dover Cafe, and that, in fact, he was merely driving by and that there was no interaction whatsoever. But did she have her location on? The next day, during the arraignment in Dedham District Court, the judge dismissed the accusation of Harry violating the 209A order while driving through Dover Center as a clear coincidence. Okay. February 7th, 2020, Katie contacted the Dover police again and advised that she was concerned about Harry being angry about the criminal charges being taken out against him. She repeatedly had contact with Sergeant Menace. Okay, you can't make this up. The attorney's name is Revenge and the sergeant's name is Menace, but it's Menice. Revenge, Menace. This case has everything we could want. Oh, Iron Rabbit says Stuart Ravitch is an attorney in Norwood, Massachusetts. Well, I'm going with Revenge and Menace for now until they correct it in the papers. In the papers. I mean, I could use the Google, but what fun would that be? What fun would that be? I have not had a chance to do that yet, Kathleen. I have not listened to Defense Diaries interviews with the Richard Allen defense team. I barely have time to do my own shows. I've been meaning to, though. They're on my play later list or whatever that's called. Save for later. There was an unusual amount of text message exchanges via private phones and others of the Dover Police Department complaining that she was in fear that Harry would be mad and tries to retaliate. There was an unusual amount of text message exchanges via private phones and others of the Dover Police Department complaining that she was in fear. What? that Harry would be mad and tries to retaliate. She was texting like members of the Dover Police Department on their private phones. I don't know if that's what that means, but that's a very unclear sentence. She alleges that she remembers an old conversation between her and Harry where he told her that one of his former patients offered to kill his ex-wife. She thought at the time the conversation was humorous, but now she had fear. The police said that they would make regular checks of the house. Oh boy. It was during this period of time that Harry was living like a nomad. He'd been thrown out of his own home and been staying with a friend, first in Dover. And after a couple of weeks, he moved into a small bedroom of another friend in Boston. He tried to reorganize his life, commit to the job opportunities in Germany, and was forced to return from Germany in March of 2020 due to a worldwide pandemic that caused a worldwide lockdown. Right, so when did he go to Germany? This is confusing. Once the pandemic hit, none of his friends or acquaintances were willing to provide him with temporary housing out of fear of infection from a deadly virus. Well, why didn't he just stay in Germany? Did they kick him out of Germany? Did he have to leave because he had an American passport? I have questions. If you're living like a nomad and you're in Germany anyway, why would you come back to the US unless they kicked everybody out? I mean, the lockdowns happened here in or about like March 14th. I don't know. So I have questions too. Revenge is how you pronounce it according to Google Gemini, or revenge. I'm calling him revenge. I don't care what anybody says. And I'm calling X Twitter forever, forever. At last, later in March of 2020, Harry was provided temporary shelter in an old trailer in Florida owned by one of his friends. Oh man, Harry has fallen. How the mighty have fallen. Harry was consumed by fear during the pandemic that as a result, he would ultimately catch the virus and die, as at age 58, he was considered a member of the high-risk population. Mid to end of May 2020, Harry had nowhere to go and nowhere to live and was vulnerable and desperately looking for shelter to protect himself from the deadly pandemic. I just think that now is a good time to point out to you that nobody loved, hold on, wait a second. At the punchline, I have to get my delivery right. Now is a good time to point out to you, nobody falls in love faster than a narcissist who needs a place to live. Ba-dum-bum. On February 25th of 2020, after searching in Harry's private belongings at the house, Katie brought his portable hard drive to the Dover police station, which contained a sexy time video of Harry and his ex-wife, Krista, allegedly recorded without her knowledge. Also, it did not have anything to do with his, wait a second. Okay. Also, it did not have anything to do with her or the legal proceedings she initiated against Harry. She alleged that they were illegal and asked the Dover police to investigate with the goal to further compromise Harry and his legal standing. Katie handed the hard drive over to the police and they said they would follow up. Krista Tuerk was contacted via phone and told the police that she is aware of the videos and that she did not wish to pursue the hard drive. The hard drive was, quote, placed into the evidence locker. Oh, boy. In March of 2020, Steve Rocca, Katie's first ex-husband, I guess no judgment, but she's been first ex-husband. So was Dr. Tuerk her third husband? I don't know. Or her second, I don't know. Called to tell her that a private investigator identified as Sarah Alcorn from the Greystone investigations has stopped by his residence and attempted to interview him. She stated that she was hired by Harry's attorneys and wanted to inquire about Kathleen McLean. Rocca declined to speak with the investigator, but turned around and informed McLean about the situation. Katie contacted the Dover police on March 4th of 2020, complaining about the interaction between her ex-husband, Rocca, and the private investigator hired by Harry. Dahlia Lynn is reminding us that the evidence locker equals the black hole. MCAT says Proctor would check that hard drive for nudes, no doubt. He was involved in this case, actually. Even I cannot make this up, says we all know what Proctor Trooper was watching then. Scott McGinnis says DA Meatball Morrissey State Police Detective Goon Squad, handpicked by him, have many fires on board. DA Meatball Morrissey has his ship floundering with all these cases. Yeah. Wait till you look at the list of who was involved in this investigation. You might be shocked. You might not. Oops. Christopher says, I'm sorry, but she wasted so many police resources in a small town, no less. Dan says, I'm sure Proctor was sharing that hard drive with his high school buddies. A lot of men in the chat today. You guys are pumping up the Midnight Mike is here. You guys are pumping up the male viewership. I think YouTube gives you like way too many analytics, like every analytic you could possibly imagine. And my viewership is like 79.9 female and 20.1 male. So let's get the ratio up, you guys. You guys, it's a good ratio in here for you. And look, Farmer is here. Squat's here. Always. We need to up the ratio, which reminds me to ask you to smash the like button. Thank you. And the subscribe button. Thank you. She alleged yet again a possible violation of the 209A order by Harry, claiming that it constituted illegal contact by a third party. The Dover police followed up on Katie's allegation and called the private investigator and interrogated her over the phone. Sarah Alcorn is a professional investigator who is of significant repute and very well respected. The police inquiry determined that there was no untoward activity and that, in fact, upon being told Katie wished not to make further statements and left the police station immediately. Contacting ex-husband Rocca was a perfectly legal and appropriate action on behalf of the private investigator, but Katie's reaction, based on her extensive prior experience in manipulating the legal system to her benefit, is another example of her very aggressive and provoking behavior to cause trouble for Harry, get him arrested, or to compromise his legal standing, pretty much in the same way as she did with Stephen Rocca several years earlier. Oh, did she have a pattern? I wonder if Stephen Rocca will testify at the trial. This is getting more interesting the more we read. Not that anybody deserves to be killed over anything like this at all. That is not what I'm saying. But I think he's going to say that it was accidental or something. As a response to Katie's erratic and aggressive actions, Harry's legal team grew very concerned about her demonstrated behavior and decided to hire a professional security guard to accompany Harry to all public events that included encounters between him and Katie and to shield him from further attempts by Katie to provoke Harry. Crystal Pond pointing out the obvious. That in her opinion, given vibes of someone who's recently been in the news. On March 4th, 2020, Katie requested all reports from the Dover Police Department and tried to retrieve Harry's hard drive containing the sexy time videos as well. Oops. YouTube doesn't, they scan the chat. What's going on here? She did not indicate why she wanted the hard drive, knowing that it had nothing whatsoever to do with her. The Dover police indicated that the hard drive was not going to be returned to her and that it had been placed in the, quote, evidence locker. On March 5th, 2020, the Dover police sent all reports to Katie via email, keeping the hard drive. These involved incident report. Here's all the numbers of the police reports and offense numbers, as well as numerous interviews. These involved police incident reports. So they name all of the numbers of the police reports and all of the interviews. On April 10th, 2020, Vanessa Pettigrew, friend of Katie's, sends the Dover police text messages that she had received from Katie about the alleged pushing incident on January 11th of 2020. On April 15th, 2020, Jay Hughes erected, as ordered by the probate judge, the for sale sign in the front yard of Harry's house. Katie was upset by this action and the realization that Harry was serious about selling the house and moving on, and sent multiple emails to Jay Hughes complaining, as well as to Harry's attorneys, already hinting that she will make the house sale as difficult as she can. Let's remember, by now, all schools were in lockdown due to the panty. Can't even really say that word. The children were homeschooled via Zoom classes, and that Katie had no alternative place to stay. The unoccupied apartment owned by her mother in Belmont, where she could have moved with her children who had remote classes via the internet anyway, and away from Harry. That's not a complete sentence. Hold on. But she had other plans! Exclamation point. A day later, she turned around and reached out to Harry via a mutual friend, Kerf Pfannenstiel, to let him know that she misses him and the, quote, family. It was followed up by a FaceTime call between Katie and Harry, again initiated by Katie using the cell phone of Kurt Pfannenstiel, again discussing the possibility of reconciliation. Why was she FaceTiming on Kurt's phone? In the meantime, in the interim, Katie officially contacted Harry through counsel and confirmed that there was a plain and strong likelihood that they would be able to reconcile and resume their marital life, and that he would be able to return to his house. Anybody watching Landman right now? I don't want to give you any spoilers, but it's a little bit reminiscent of Landman. Excuse me, my misophonia friends, while I turn off my mic and take a drink. 1 minute. Previously, Jen Lee loves Landman. It's so good, right? I think I'm on like episode 7, and then I got nervous, so I looked it up on IMDb Pro, and I'm like, how many episodes is this? I thought it was only 8, but it's 10. So I'm excited that I still got 3 more to watch. Love Landman. It's on Paramount Plus. For those of you who don't know, Midnight Mike knows. It is Billy Bob Thornton, and it is my favorite John Hamm and Demi Moore, who's another one of my favorites. Ali Larter is amazing. Carol loves it too. It's the cowboy version of The Sopranos. That's perfect, Laura. That's perfect. Excellent. It's like, takes place in the oil fields in Texas. Crazy. So good. Hello, Elliot Jameson. Hello, and welcome. And welcome to another crazy investigation in the state of Massachusetts, for which Dr. Ingolf Tuerk, aka Harry, will be undergoing trial starting March, I think 25th, we said, right? Previously, Harry had repeatedly implored her through counsel to allow him to at least live in the basement so he'd be safe during the panty. Katie took advance of Harry's I think that's supposed to say advantage. Somebody said this is like the most poorly written document they've ever read, but we're getting there. We're getting there. A lot of incomplete sentences, a lot of misplaced words. I'm going to say Katie took advantage of Harry's desperation to find and need shelter, and she stated that she would vacate the 209A protection order and allow him to move homie. It says allow him to move homie. Allow him to move homie if he signed an extensive post-nup. Oh boy. All right. It's getting interesting now. Here's what we're going to do, homie. I'm going to let you move back. I'll vacate the restraining order that I have you against you if you sign a post-nup which included an execution of the house deed and transferring ownership to himself, and include her as the half owner, sentenced by the entirety. Oh boy, that's one of those things in law school that they teach you. tenants by the entirety, as well as demands for $200,000 covering her attorney's fees in case of a divorce, continue to pay all living expenses for the home in Dover, and many more provisions favoring Katie. What is a postnup, you ask? What is a postnup? A postnup, as opposed to a prenup, can be entered at any time during the marriage, which settles such things that would happen in the event of a divorce. So you can execute a postnup after you are married. Here's what Katie wanted. Quid pro quo. I'll drop the restraining order against you, but I need you to sign this extensive postnup. You need to transfer half the house to me as tenants by the entirety, which means that if one of us dies, it goes to my kids instead of all to you. As well, or wait, tenants by the entirety. No, wait, I got to look that up. Okay, wait, hold on. I don't want to get that wrong because it's an important distinction. Tenants by entirety is a legal arrangement that allows married couples in most states, but not all. Massachusetts, each spouse has an equal, undivided. Okay. So here's how it works. Tenants by the entirety is when one spouse dies, the other spouse gets the whole thing. So since he signed this agreement, if she died, he would get the whole thing. If it were tenants in common and one of the spouses died, their share would go to their issue. Oh my gosh, I remember law school like it was yesterday, and it was like 30 more some odd years ago. Would go to their children. And she also wanted $200,000 covering her attorney's fees in case of a divorce. That if they got divorced, he would continue to pay all living expenses for the home in Dover and many more provisions favoring Katie. Obviously, oh, well, it said it right here. I didn't have to go Google it. Obviously, tenants by the entirety means that if one spouse dies, the other person owns the house outright without any probate court activity. The home had a fair market value of $1.8 to $2 million at the time of the deed transfer. On April 29th of 2020, out of desperation, Harry did sign the extensive postnup agreement and deeded the home to himself and Katie McLean as tenants by the entirety in the hope that he would be allowed to return home and have a safe shelter from the deadly pandemic. Okay, come on, really? I mean, did he even talk to his lawyer? He had a lawyer. Sounds like a motive, Grayspace says. Yep, yes it does. In April of 2020, the defendant was represented by attorney Michael Thaler, Thaler. Katie had been forwarding text messages to attorney Thaler, as well as indicating that she wanted to drop the restraining order and that she would exercise her marital privilege, just as she had done in similar situations earlier in her life. Oh, did she have a pattern of filing restraining orders against previous relationships and or husbands and agreeing to drop them and saying that she would invoke spousal privilege and not testify against them so they couldn't prosecute? Katie went so far as to indicate to attorney Thaler, as well as the district attorney's office, that she would consider recanting her allegations of DV against Harry. On April 28th of 2020, Katie forwarded attorney Thaler the February 3rd, 2020 incident reports. She also sent attorney Thaler text exchanges that she had with Vanessa Pettigrew, as well as the Dover police reports. So she's sending all this stuff to Harry's attorney. Does she have an attorney? After Harry transferred the deed and signed the postnup agreement on April 30th of 2020, Katie sent attorney Thaler a draft affidavit to vacate the 209A and forwarded another draft affidavit to him, asking him to ensure that all charges against Harry would be dropped and the 209A would be vacated. On May 2 of 2020, Katie signed the affidavit to vacate the 209A and forwarded it to attorney Thaler and emailed him about vacating the restraining order. On May 4th of 2020, Katie sent a motion to vacate the 209A order to the Dedham District Court clerk, providing her contact information, including her cell phone, and indicated to the clerk that she hopes this can be done as soon as possible so my husband and I can begin to bring our family back together. Later, in a video court session, the judge granted Katie's motion to vacate the 209A order, and Katie's attorney informed Harry's attorney that the 209A was indeed vacated. Is everybody following this? On May 6 of 2020, Harry filed a petition for review and modification of the bail conditions to no abuse only, based on Katie's insistence that this would be necessary in order to have Harry come home and reunite their family. On the same day, text messages are being exchanged between Katie and Attorney Thaler about ramifications of recanting her allegations of DV against Harry, as well as confirming that she would not testify against Harry and would not cooperate with the Commonwealth. Also, she indicated that some of her witnesses, like her cop friend, Rob Sacca, S-A-C-C-A, anybody, does that ring a bell? Rob Sacca, S-A-C-C-A, he's a cop, is on the Brady list, which means he can't be used and he can't testify. Rob Sacca. The name sounds familiar to me. It may sound more familiar to some of you in the chat. Anyone? Oh. On May 6 of 2020, Katie indicated to Harry that the 209A was vacated and that he should come home and that she can't wait to see him. On May 7, 2020, Harry drove from Rockledge, Florida, back to Massachusetts, stopping in Richmond, Virginia overnight. Due to the very long drive, Katie offered to meet Harry in New York and help him with the drive back. Yeah, let's use the Google machine. Go for it, Christopher. Go for it, Christopher. I can't do it while I'm reading to you, but you guys can. Kate Mick, quick question. Is the non-Brady list shorter? Well done, Kate. Well done. Well done. Scott McGinnis doesn't recognize the name. Okay. On May 6, 2020. Oh, wait. All right. So when she was going to New York, she was going to meet him. Okay. On May 8th, Steve Rocca, the first ex-husband of Katie, using Harry's Jeep Wrangler, drove Katie as well as Grace and Sam, I think I'm supposed to say Sam, to New York to meet Harry. At a gas station just outside of New York, Katie changed cars, and while Stephen Rocca was driving Grace and Sam back home in Harry's Jeep Wrangler, Katie drove Harry in his Mercedes SUV back to Massachusetts. Upon arrival in Dedham later that day on April 8th of 2020, Harry and Katie rented a room at the Residence Inn together, room 228, mainly for Harry to stay there just in case through May 17th. Why just in case? Oh, because the order hadn't been vacated yet? Yep. 10 days after the vacated 209A, she was murdered. Since unity and corruption crushers. Lisa Louise says Saka could be part of the family that owns a prominent construction company by the same name here in Massachusetts. Scott McGinnis says, haha, in Massachusetts, you're probably right. Brady list is over 50%. Really? Just after entering the room, Katie initiated having sexy time with Harry twice. With Katie spending several hours at the Residence Inn while her 3 children were at the Dover residence by themselves. Well, I mean, they had one that was like 17 or 18, so I don't know that that's a big whoop. But anyway, on May 8th of 2020, Katie and Harry filed a motion at Norfolk Probate Court dismissing the divorce petition as they had formally reconciled. This is tumultuous at best. Crazy town. Hold on one second. Okay, that feeling when your agent emails you with a really amazing audition that you can't talk about. So there's that. Okay, well done to me. On May 9th, 2020, Harry completed his first 8 hours of anger management while in his room at the Residence Inn. I guess you can, I guess back in the day, back during the panic, you didn't have to go to in-person anger management. You could do it over Zoom. Thank you, Midnight Mike, for gifting a membership. You're amazing. Thank you to and welcome to the random person who was gifted. Okay. His second class would be on May 16th, 2020. On May 13th, Attorney Thaler told Katie that the motion to modify Harry's bail conditions was continued to May 15th, as the judge wanted to hear from her directly. On May 13th of 2020, Katie told Attorney Thaler that she was contacting the victim witness advocate and the DA about her asserting the marital privilege and possible recanting of her allegations against Harry. Attorney Thaler discussed the procedure for the hearing on May 15th with Katie, telling her that he was not sure what questions the judge would ask, but it would be similar to what the judge asked last week during the motion to vacate the 209A, with questions pertaining to safety, ensuring she's doing this voluntarily, etc. Why is his attorney advising her? On May 14th of 2020, Katie forwarded Attorney Thaler Harry's anger management attendance letter. Harry and Katie have reconciled and were attempting to revive their marital relationship at the Dover residence. This is very poorly written, you're right. I can no longer deny it. Later that day in the afternoon, after Harry, with the help of Grace and Sam, had done several hours of yard work, Katie proceeded to make drinks for them. Several vodka martinis for Harry and several cosmopolitans for herself. Everyone in Norfolk County a big drinker. I'm just asking. No judgment. In the evening, Harry and Katie, along with Sophia, Grace, and Sam, enjoyed a nice dinner and played a board game in the kitchen. Both Harry and Katie continued to drink their alcoholic beverages. Ultimately, the level of intoxication from the alcohol had increased in both, and around 10 p.m., the children went to bed upstairs. Katie and Harry continued to stay in the family room and watch television. As Harry was joining Katie with some drinks on the couch in the family room, he asked her to move over and free up, which is customary, on the sofa, at which time Katie suddenly started a fight/argument. He asked her to move over and free up, which is customary on the sofa, at which time Katie suddenly started a fight or argument. She was berating Harry and cussing at him, making all kinds of accusatory claims and judgmental observations, while Harry was quiet and shocked about Katie's sudden and unprovoked outburst. After about 45 minutes, Katie stopped arguing and they both proceeded to watch television for 1 to 2 hours while Sophia, Grace, and Sam were upstairs in their room. Oh, Gen Xer mad. That's what it reminded me of. Alcohol and board games. Were there puzzles too? Was it a good day? Were they doing crafts? This is reminiscent of Sarah Boone. Yay, Marcia Smith got a membership. She's stoked. This writing is paining me. Says, oh, sweetie, no. Tazo, we had covered that before. Oh, Elizabeth Mullins, Lupus Lady, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate you so much. You're so generous, so kind, always. Buzzing for Truth has been here for 12 months and says, hi, Melanie. Thank you for all the updates. You're welcome. Laura, thanks for the dues. Didn't Johnny Depp and Amber have a post-nup? I did not follow that case. I was not on YouTube yet. Watched some of the testimony, but I don't know. It's not uncommon. Midnight Mike gifted a membership. Thank you so much, Midnight Scott says, FYI, I'm not getting in a suitcase for anybody. Hide your cigarettes in suitcase. Hide your cigarettes. And Marissa said, gosh, I forgot that Sarah Boone existed for like 5 days. Very interesting case. There's some parallels to Pop-Tarts and Dr. Pepper. We have emojis for that, you guys. We have Pop-Tarts and Dr. Pepper emojis for the members. I'll put them in there for you if you forgot about those. I think didn't we also have a suitcase emoji at one time? But we had to delete, maybe you had to delete some emojis because you can only have so many. That's why if we get more members, we can have more emojis. So keep it going. Keep it going. We're almost at 75K. Let's check the numbers. Hold on while I check the numbers. 74,371. You guys are amazing. That's like 100 members since the earlier stream, I think. Almost, anyway. Keep it going. Let's keep it going. My kids say I get a rainbow cake when I get to 75,000. I really want that rainbow cookie cake. Just saying. You guys are the best. It's free. Hit subscribe. It's free. Look at Sarah and Shoganora gifting 10 memberships. Thank you, Sarah. Sarah is an amazing moderator for the channel. She's also an amazing person, amazing human, and very, very kind and generous. Natalie Merchant used to say, you're so kind and generous. I don't know how you keep on giving. All right. She was berating Harry, cussing him. After 45 minutes, then they went upstairs. Okay. Ultimately, Harry and Katie went upstairs to the master bedroom, taking their drinks with them, and had more sexy time. Oops, I need my pen. I need my pen. Afterwards, both were looking at their phones, and Harry told Katie that even Kate Kelly is wishing them good luck with their reconciliation based on a text she sent Harry. Uh-oh, Kate Kelly has entered the chat. Another Irish gal getting involved in the marriage of Katie and Harry. Like the Sullivan sisters. Remember the Sullivan sisters, anybody? This is according to Harry, right? This is Harry's version of events. This is Harry's statement of the case. Yes. We're all here. James is here. Haughty loves the channel. Thanks, Haughty. I love you too. I love all of you. Solomon Landscaping is here. I haven't seen you in a long time either. Rachel points out some people just shouldn't drink. Yeah. Nothing good ever comes from too much alcohol. Just doesn't. Yes, the Sullivan sisters, I think, were at the last hearing because if so, what the duck? What the duck is right. Somebody had pictures of them, screenshots that somebody sent me that I think were posted on Twitter, where one of the Sullivan sisters was like doing one of these, and then I think she waved at the camera at one point. I have the hiccups. Hold on. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, she did. Oh, yes, she did. Reached for. Those of you who know TikTok know what I'm talking about. Oh, yes, Auntie Beb ruled on Dr. Marie Russell's motion, not to spoil it for you, because I did an hour, a little over an hour on it earlier around 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Dr. Russell has been qualified as an expert and will be able to testify at Karen Reed's re-persecution. But still go back and like the video anyway and watch it. Give me the view. Laura Sullivan was just in court giggling and making faces like a mean girl. So true. Harry should have stuck with Sally, says P. Cooper. Love it. Carol says, dear God, do you think the Sullivan sisters are going to be in the next trial? Well, I'm assuming the O'Keefe family invited them to come to the hearing because it was in that little tiny courtroom again, right? 10 seats for O'Keefe's, 10 seats for Reed's, and 10 seats for the media. They can invite whoever they want. Yeah, it was gross. It's kind of gross. Well, here's Kate Kelly. Kate Kelly is a longtime friend of Harry's, dating back more than 15 years. They never engaged in a romantic relationship. From the beginning of Harry and Katie's relationship, Katie expressed significant amount of jealousy towards Kate Kelly, and her animosity against Kelly went so far as to force Harry to interrupt any communication with Kate, including blocking her phone number and her social media accounts in 2018. Oh, Harry. Maybe your intuition was right. I don't know. Katie stated that she wanted to have Harry's phone and read the text communication between Harry, and now he's calling her Cat Kelly, but earlier it said Kate Kelly, so I'm not quite sure. Because here it says Cat, back there it says Kate Kelly, Cat Kelly. I don't know. You say Kate, I say Cat. Katie stated that she wanted to have Harry's phone. I don't like how he's talking in the present tense. Katie states that she wants to have Harry's phone. No, Katie stated that she wanted to have it. Katie told Harry to give her phone. Something like that. Something like that. Katie stated that she wants Harry to have Harry's phone and read the text communication between Harry and Cat Kelly, even dating back from February, March, and April of 2020, when Harry and Katie were in a, quote, legal battle, and some of the text exchanges between Harry and Kelly were negative toward Katie. Harry responded cautiously to Katie's request to see his phone and read those texts, and mentioned to her that she suggested to, quote, start with a clean slate since she moved on and had started relationships with other men in the past couple of months, that it would not be a good idea to look back into the past and read those compromising texts, and that she would respond angrily to some of those texts. Katie reacted upset and demanded to have Harry's phone and threatened him with calling the police and throwing him out of the house if he would not comply. Harry was shocked by her outburst and threats and reluctantly gave her his phone. Katie proceeded to read the text exchange between Harry and Kate Kelly dating back to January of 2020. After a couple of minutes, she got really angry and started yelling and cussing at Harry and taunted him and Kate Kelly. Taunted him and Kate Kelly? Is Kate Kelly in the room? She threatened Harry with destroying his life and told him, get the duck out of my house. And by the way, walk to your ducking hotel because your Jeep Wrangler is mine. The judge said so. I mean, maybe it's a good time to point out that, I don't know, maybe Harry could have should have deleted those texts. I'm just saying, here's the thing. She's going to want to look at your phone. She's stolen your phone while you're sleeping. Have you learned nothing? Harry, have you learned nothing? She's been able to get your phone or wrestle your phone away from you several times. And Ipsy Dixit, remember the thumbs up button. And why did he have those text messages on his phone? This is another good time to remind you all that nothing good comes from Facebook. Nothing good comes from Facebook. Nothing good comes from Facebook and relationships. It's not good for relationships. Just don't do it. Don't use it. All those people posting on Facebook about how happy they are always the next ones in line to get divorced. All those ex-boyfriends reaching out through Facebook Messenger. Bad idea. Bad idea. Does he not know Higgins? He could have cracked his SIM card, started off with a new phone when they reconciled, and had a fresh, clean slate. Why, Harry? Why? Dan says, I'm sure Jennifer McCabe would be willing to give a tutorial on how to delete messages. Scott says, Facebook is a good thing to use as a preamble to divorce court. Look at Jen's I've been on Facebook for 7 years and Twitter. And have you never been happier in your life, Jen? I don't use either. And I've never been happier. What a time suck. What a What a mind duck. Also, amen to that, says Delana. Look, no shade to any men out there who are on Facebook, but like, really, why are you on Facebook? Why? I mean, so to look at pictures of like your high school girlfriends, like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know why. Keep in touch with your friends. Call them. Nobody needs to see pictures of your kids and your how great your life was when you were in high school on the baseball team. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know. There's something that I don't see why men need to be on Facebook. I prefer my men to not use any social media at all. That's just me, though. That's just me. I don't think anything good can come from Facebook. You guys can tell me what you think. As always, chime in because I don't think it's good. Michelle says, I gave up Facebook in 2018 as a gift to myself. Yep. Kate Mick says, yeah, Facebook should be called Divorced by Christmas Book. Yes. Sarah, I have mine up too, only because I have all the photos too. Once I stop being lazy and get an external hard drive to save them on, I'm deleting my profile. Yeah. Booty calls. Booty calls. And Weber says, I agree, Melanie. Mike thinks it's funny. Mike thinks this is funny. So that means that Mike is on Facebook. He's constantly looking up his high school girlfriends just to see how they turned out. Have you ever reached out to anyone and say, hey, how's it going? Remember me? Christopher says, I make the mistake of going on Twitter every day and feel dumber just by reading stuff from KP and the GSE. Yeah, I know. If it makes you angry, if it doesn't give you joy, just don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm sorry. I'm just saying. Facebook is slowly becoming a place to read the obituary. That's right. You're right, Laura, because sometimes if you didn't see it on Facebook that someone died, you otherwise would not know. And people post things on Facebook and expect all of their friends who are friends with them on Facebook to know what's going on in their life. So if you reach out to someone that you haven't talked to in a while, they'll be like, oh, well, didn't you see on Facebook that my father died? Or I'm like, no, because I don't go on there. I don't know. I'm just saying. Rant over for now. Okay, so she said, walk to your Duck Inn hotel because your Jeep Wrangler is mine. The judge said so. Katie threatened to call the police to reinforce her demand that Harry leave the Dover residence, the home he purchased himself in 2017. Harry was completely devastated. Anxiety levels were high, and he begged Katie on his knee. He got on his knees, you guys, on his knees, not to call the police and not to throw him out of the house as he had nowhere to go and be safe at the height of a deadly panty. He was paralyzed with fear that he would yet again be homeless and end up living without a safe shelter at the height of the deadly virus, with a significant risk that he could catch the same and ultimately die. You guys, we watched some early video from 12 years ago of Harry and his 6'3"-ness, and he's a big dude. And does anybody believe? I mean, look, this is my opinion and my opinion only, that he was afraid as a doctor that he was going to catch this C word and die, and that he was deathly afraid. He expressed his worries and fears to her, and Katie said, good, when you die, I will inherit the whole house. I mean, I think Kevin Reddington wants us to believe that Doctor was a sniveling simp, right? I don't know. It's the impression. Solomon Landscaping says, I agree. I got myself in trouble with social media many years ago. Haven't had it in years and never been happier. If you're single, it's good. If not, it's trouble. Oh, interesting. And look at Teresa got banned from Twitter years ago. Oh, well, you're not missing anything. Face Booty says, Kurt says, I like Facebook Marketplace. I sold my boat there in 2 weeks. Oh, was that the second best day of your life? The day you sold that thing? Boy, it's like a hole in the water you throw money into, huh? Don't ask me how I know. All right. Katie told Harry that she never had real intentions to reconcile with him, that she set him up, and that she would live with her 3 children in the house in Dover for the next 2 years until Grace graduated from high school, while Harry would pay all living expenses. Postnup, that's what the postnup said. That she would then divorce him after the 2 years and sell the house while he's paying her attorney costs. Postnup said that too. And taking the rest of his money. I don't like the tense that this is written in. She stated to Harry that she hated him and that she didn't want to be his wife. In fact, here's where it's going to get ugly. She stated to Harry that she hated him and that she didn't want to be with his wife, didn't want to be his wife. In fact, she had been involved with other men, gloating and telling him about her dating website dalliances and her activities on those dating websites, even at the time of the supposed reconciliation and during the couple of days that Harry was home. Oh, no, you didn't. Oh, no, she didn't. And guess what? Guess what? Not only did he sign it, he signed that postnup. Not to spoil anything, but I'll just tell you that the defense motion to obtain the accounts of Katie from Bumble, Hinge, Match.com, Plenty of Fish, we'll go over it another time, were granted. He's going to be able to get access to all those accounts. So there's that. Harry continued to beg Katie on his knees not to do this, that she promised him that she would never act on the postnup and that she loved him and wanted to grow old with him. And Katie responded by continuing to taunt him. Oh, this is not good. I mean, is his argument going to be that she instigated her own killing? She referred to the dating site men as Harry on his knees again for the third time. Begged Katie, please don't do this. And she proceeded to hit him with a glass, striking him on top of the head and striking him in his forehead, and came at him with arms outstretched. He stood up and grabbed her, and it was at this point that he realized that she went limp and that she had indeed passed away. XOXO. By his attorney, Kevin Reddington, Esquire. Let's just read that last sentence one more time, the last two sentences. Alyssa, the only thing I ever see my parents fight about is my dad's beloved Bayliner. That's a boat. My mom finally won, and he sold it after about 15 years. On his knees. He was on his knees, Midnight Mike. Do you believe it? OnlyFans like, what? Santini says, Harry, I would rather the video. Last two sentences. Kate believes none of this. She referred to the dating site men as Harry on his knees, begged Katie, please don't do this. And she proceeded to hit him with a glass, striking him on the head and striking him in his forehead, and came at him with arms outstretched. He stood up and grabbed her. And it was at this point he realized that she went limp and she had indeed passed away. I mean, not a whole lot of detail there. Did she have a heart attack and die? He stood up and grabbed her, and it was he grabbed her around the neck because she had a fractured hyoid bone, sir. Doctor, you know what a hyoid bone is, right, Doc? And she had indeed passed away. And that is the defendant's statement of the case. Oh, and then there's some more pages here, but it says she would vacate he could move homie. This is all stuff from before. So this is, yeah, these are old pages. I don't know why they're attached at the end of this. Okay, so that's all old stuff. It's not really 24 pages. It's really only 18 pages. So look at that. I got to finish reading before I thought I would. So that is a win. Now I can turn on this bright as hell second screen. We can talk about it. We can talk about it. Kelly says more like she hit him in the head trying to get him to let go while he was gripping her around the neck, maybe, possibly, right? It does take a lot of pressure to fracture the hyoid bone. Glamasuse reminds us. And Kristen says, this is what you get when a doctor writes fiction. Yes, Kim, yes. Blah, blah, blah for pages and pages. And then the actual crime gets 2 paragraphs or whatever. And yes, Scott McGinnis says, I enjoy Attorney Reddington. He can be funny, even though he represents some of the worst. Well, look, everybody is entitled to a defense, right? No, Santini, we're not allowed to say that word. That C word. We're not allowed to. I think, in fact, some people got banned from YouTube altogether for using that word too much at a time, such as when the panning happened. Lori Lake says, Melanie, quick get the movie rights for the script. Yeah, so yes, we should. Nobody's covering this. If you've seen other people covering this, let me know. But when I went looking for information today, couldn't find it. Definitely sounds like a male written story, says Marissa. Yeah, the reading does drive me crazy on these documents, or lack of. And the proofreading, I know. I always point it out. I do. If you're joining late, there's something that I do want to point out to you. Patriotic says Kevin Reddington fact. Attorney Reddington defended Thomas Tulin III, accused of murder on Nantucket, and was featured on Dateline. Attorney Reddington was excellent, in my opinion. Got a hung jury. All right, I got to look up that Dateline. That's fantastic. A lot of people say he's a great guy, and they like him a lot. Look, can't help who you represent. Everyone's entitled to a good defense, right? So his name is. This is on Dateline. Reddington. Thomas Tulin III. Excellent. I'll look for that. I think we all should do some homework. Okay. Well, the first you've heard of this case, Debbie, was today from me. Thank you. No, thank you. Jazzy has seen nothing on this case. I know it's not getting a lot of press. It's going to be in the same courtroom as Karen Reed, in the same courthouse anyway. It was assigned to Judge Cannone until it was taken away from her. Let's take a look and see. Because now here's what's happening. Here's the latest, okay? There's some interesting motions in Lemonade, like the one to exclude the word popcorn. Yeah, you'll want to see that one. And hold on here. Okay, so there was a motion recently, since we were talking about this just now. Let me push this over here. Put this over here. This Glenn Ebert gives this movie 4 thumbs down. Lemonade and popcorn. Yes, they want to exclude the word popcorn. Don't worry. I'm going to tell you why. The new judge is, hold on. Tell me if you know this judge, my friends. Tell me if you know this judge. That's funny because they still have Judge. Wait, so Judge Doolin heard the last motion hearing on. Oh no, he's assigned to it for the February. There's a February 12th motion hearing coming up, and it's Judge Doolin, Doolin. Why does that name sound familiar? Did we just watch another hearing with Judge Doolin? Was that the Aiden Carney hearing that just happened the other day? Was that Judge Doolin? Patriotic. Thank you for telling me I'm insightful. No knowledge of any of this awful background to this case. So sad, but certainly a cautionary tale for single people. Yeah, and also maybe if you don't maybe you don't want to remarry the person that you're divorcing. I don't know. I'm just saying. There's a reason you got divorced to begin with. Thank you, Mass Dad. Thank you. I was looking for the document, couldn't find it, but I know that you know. Judge Mark Hallam is the assigned trial judge. Hallam. Anybody know who he is? Anybody know or have had any experiences with Judge Mark Hallam, Hallam, in Norfolk Superior? Let me know. Oh, sorry. It's Halal, Hallal. Okay. Judge, come on, let's look him up. Why not? We're here. We got the Google. Norfolk County Superior Court, Judge Mark Hallal. He was appointed to the bench by Governor Charlie Baker on April 12th, 2017. What else do we know about him? He had been in Suffolk County Court. So was he transferred from Suffolk County Court to Norfolk County Court? Well, that's interesting because here in New York, as I've told you before, we elect our judges. And so when you vote in your county, you elect your judges in your county. And so the judges that are in Suffolk County, New York and Nassau County, New York are elected to the bench in that county. They don't swap them around. They don't trade them off to other counties. But it seems like Judge Halal at one point recently was in Suffolk Superior Court. I guess he's coming to Norfolk. Roll out the red carpet for Judge Halal. So there's that. Charlie appointed a lot of judges. It was 21 years as an ADA in Suffolk County. Thank you, Glamasuz, for looking that up. All right, guess what they want? Guess what they want for their trial, which is coming up before Karen's trial. Hold on. I'll tell you. And this was just filed. See, this is number 158. The one that we just read was something like 73. This was just filed on January 7th. Look at that. We're going to do something current. January 7th. Today's the 13th. So we want to keep up to date because the trial's coming up soon. So look at this. Looky, looky. They are asking the court for an order. This is the Commonwealth's. Actually, the Commonwealth is making this motion. This is the Commonwealth's motion for orders to prevent juror exposure in extraneous matter from persons appearing at or near Norfolk Superior Court. The Commonwealth is making this motion. And they say, because Norfolk Superior Court has been the site of ongoing demonstrations by persons appearing at the courthouse and nearby, the Commonwealth asks that if need be, the court issue orders to ensure that trial jurors are not exposed to extraneous matter from events at or near the courthouse, and so that witnesses, attorneys, courthouse personnel, and interested friends and family members of the victim and or defendant may enter the courthouse without disturbance. As grounds, when Commonwealth versus Karen Reed was tried in Norfolk Superior Court from April to July of 2024, numerous persons appeared outside the courthouse. Although a 200-foot buffer zone order was in place, a trial juror in Reed submitted an affidavit averring that during jury deliberations, we could hear protesters outside screaming and yelling. Since the mistrial, on status dates in the Reed matter, numerous persons have appeared around the courthouse, including on the steps of Norfolk Superior and the steps leading to the Registry of Deeds building, displaying signs and materials advocating for and against the Commonwealth, loudly cheering and screaming. Numerous persons have also appeared around the courthouse for dates in the matter of Commonwealth versus Kearney at Dedham District Court. Both the Commonwealth and the defendant have a right to a fair trial, and so they're going to make their argument. See what they're looking for here. They're saying the Commonwealth is not aware of any persons intending to appear in favor of or against the Commonwealth or the defendant, Tuerk. However, the Commonwealth understands that the Reed trial is expected to begin in early April 2025 and will likely overlap with this case, which is scheduled to begin with jury impanelment on March 25th and expected to take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. Should the Reed trial commence during the trial of this matter, or if the Reed or Kearney matters happen to be scheduled for any in-court events during the trial of this matter, it appears likely that crowds will appear at or near the courthouse advocating for or against the Commonwealth, thus exposing trial jurors to extraneous matter and potentially compromising the fairness of the trial. They don't want there. It says jurors, trial witnesses appearing in response to summonses, attorneys, friends and family of victims and defendants, and courthouse personnel should not be subjected to a gauntlet of assembled persons. Should the Reed matter proceed to trial in early April, as anticipated, the likelihood of jurors being exposed to extraneous matter is high. Historically, even with the 200-foot buffer zone that was set during the first Reed trial, the deliberating jury could still hear screaming and yelling from persons who had assembled outside the courthouse. The Commonwealth requests, I need my red pen. that this court consider issuing a buffer zone order or adopting some other mechanism to avoid exposing the trial jurors to extraneous matter should it appear likely that persons will be assembling at or near the courthouse. And they submit an affidavit in support. Mass Dad says the SJC ruled that it doesn't infringe upon First Amendment. It's not a live issue anymore. So the ripple effects of the Karen Reed trial are enormous, as are the ripple effects of the Proctor problem. So if you weren't here earlier, I'm going to let you look at this because I showed this earlier in the show. Was it during the show? No, it was during the last show because I wanted to give you a little teaser to come over to this show. So here we go. Why does this not have a number? This was Commonwealth's notice of discovery number 7. And these were things that were turned over to the defense in October 2024. So a little over 2 months ago. A Massachusetts State Police report from 2020. 1 page. Look at this. Massachusetts State Police report, inquiry number, chain of custody report for Trooper Michael Proctor's work phone, 26 pages. Oh, are you kidding me? There's a chain of custody report for Trooper Michael Proctor's work phone that is 26 pages long. Do you mean to tell me that the Massachusetts State Police know how to do a chain of custody report and that they did one for Trooper Michael Proctor's work phone when they had to turn over all the contents of the work phone to every case that Michael Proctor ever touched defense attorneys? 26 pages long, Patty. You didn't read that wrong. Yes, OnlyFans. Oh, did they turn over this chain of custody report for Trooper Michael Proctor's work phone, the 26-page report, to the defense attorneys in the Karen Reed case? Because I don't remember ever seeing that on any notice of discovery from the Commonwealth. Somebody might want to alert the defense in the Karen Reed case to that because they should be entitled to it too. This case does have Proctor handling it. Proctor's involved in this case, Farmer. Oh, yes, he is. He is. And they had to he's on the Brady list and they had to turn everything over in this case and in the Brian Walsh case. Well, you can never tell. So there's that. Then they turned over some Dover police reports here from 2019, which must have been, I guess, the police reports of the DV, right? Involving Katie and Harry. March 1 of 2020, when Katie was going into the police department. A Sudbury police report with a cover email that is 28 pages long. There's no date on that. The Proctor problem. Yeah, that's what I'm calling it. There's a March 4th, 2024 Massachusetts State Police request for investigation regarding Trooper Michael Proctor, which is 1 page. A March 4th, 2024 Massachusetts State Police notification of investigation of Trooper Michael Proctor, which is 1 page. And there's a March 19th, 2024 Massachusetts State Police amendment to request for investigation regarding Trooper Michael Proctor. That is also 1 page. And then, because Fanning is also involved in this case, they had to turn over a July 15th, 2024 MSP report regarding Lieutenant John Fanning, which is 6 pages long, and a July 17th, 2024 Massachusetts State Police letter regarding Lieutenant John Fanning that is 1 page long. XOXO. No, I'm not saying that anybody should email Karen's team. I'm saying if anybody who's watching either works for one of the law firms, perhaps, or has a direct line to the defense team. I'm not saying to email them. New Rule 17 motion filed today for Tuerk, Dover school records. Yeah, I have it. I have everything. Seuss, I got it. Thanks for the 5. Scott says the feds turned over all of Proctor's phone records and Karen Reed, all FBI procured, so the defense motioning for his phones may be redundant. I don't know. So I thought that was a little bit interesting that they had some 26-page chain of custody report written by the Massachusetts State Police. It's not FBI generated. It's Proctor definitely stirred up the duck pond in Norfolk County. Yep. Oh, yes, he did. And then they made a motion to get all of Katie's account information from Tinder, Zoosk, Match.com, Ashley Madison, Bumble, OkCupid, and eHarmony. That was granted. Well, we'll go over that motion another day. I just want to give you a little teaser for the next show. Let me just take a look at this. There was something else I want to show you real quick before we wrap. And I get your thoughts, comments, concerns. There's a lot more to this. There's a motion to suppress that we need to go over because you don't even know what happened at the hotel when the police went and found Dr. Tuerk. You don't even know any of that yet. All you know is what we read today. But you might want to know what officers that were involved in the Karen Reed case were also involved in the Tuerk case. Oh, here it is. I have it. Just a brief little glimpse. Stop this for a second. Present this to you. And this is a Commonwealth response to defendants' motion for internal affairs reports of Massachusetts State Police troopers and detectives. As you can see here, it is now specially assigned to Judge Mark A. Halal. This is paper number 156. 156. We're not going to read the whole thing right this very second, but I just want to point out to you all of the people, law enforcement that were involved in Karen Reed that are involved in Tuerk. And here they are. It is the Commonwealth's understanding that the following MSP investigators were involved to varying degrees in the investigation of Defendant Tuerk's case that were also involved with Karen Reed. Hold on. Sergeant Jeffrey Kutkowski, Detective Lieutenant Gerard Mataliano, Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully, Lieutenant Edward Keefe, Lieutenant John Fanning, Sergeant Yuri Bukhenik, Trooper Michael Proctor, Trooper David Dicicco, Trooper Patrick Dunn, Trooper Matthew Dunn with an E, Trooper Nick Guarino, Trooper Connor Keefe, and Trooper Kevin Nickel. Interesting. What a motley crew. Kutkowski was in Chippy Bear's text group. That is right. Blame it on the rain, says Misty and Eddie. And it'll be interesting to see what it is that Trooper Nick Guarino's role was in this case, won't it? We'll go over that motion and many others the next time we convene on this case. If you guys are interested in continuing with Dr. Tuerk's case, let me know if you are. Hanky Panky's Widow Wanky, thanks for the 5, says, I think I have to go back and look at this case more closely. I'm not really familiar with it. It sounds interesting, though. Love your take on cases. This is the first show that I've ever done on it. There's not a lot of information out there. So go back and watch this case. I mean, watch this stream in its entirety. And, oh man. And, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Free super chat. Pamela Campbell, I know about, this is about a murder, but I'm laughing my ass off now. I know. You can't make this up. All day stream, says Sherry. Thanks for the 10. It's my pleasure. Ms. Mojo Horizon, thanks for the super sticker. Suze, we already went over that. Thank you again so much for your generosity. Miss Mojo Horizon, Jim Marson's wife is here, and she threw up a couple of super stickers. Thank you so very much. You are so kind and always generous. Well, you can't drop it now. I know now we're in. We're invested in this now. We are now invested in Dr. Tuerk, and we need to know what happens. And trust me, when I tell you I fell into the rabbit hole, there's so much more information that I didn't even tell you about yet. It does sound interesting, very interesting. Share the stream. Don't you let that deal go down. Don't do it. Don't you let that deal go down. We're getting to 75K soon. Let's see what we're up to right now. Oh, well, we're up to 74,381. So come on, you guys, help a girl out in her personal quest to beat Vinnie Politan in YouTube subs. I'm like 10,000 behind him. But once I get to 75,000, my kids will get me a rainbow cookie cake. And who doesn't love a rainbow cookie cake? Solomon Landscaping. I haven't heard of this case, and I'm local. Oh, really? You're local. He's a Dover doctor. Take a step back and another step back and another step back. Thank you, Miss Dianetti, another fellow deadhead. Here it is. Sub count 74,381. We're getting there. Laura, thank you, says Guarino is an Italian name that is derived from the word guardia or guardiano, meaning to guard or to protect. What a joke. That's hilarious. Thank you, Carol, for the Venmo. She says, Carolyn, love your channel and the cupcakes. Thank you so very much. You guys are just so amazing. And Kaylor says on Venmo, at work, and I can't be in the live, but I wanted to get this question in. Will the defense be able to get Proctor's texts in if he doesn't testify? And if so, how? That's a great question. They're going to have to call him. They may have to call him. You might be right, Kaylor. They might have to call him. The defense might have to call him. And really, would it be such a bad thing? I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Patty says, we need to get Melanie that 100,000 plaque. I know. I want it. I want it. That's a great point, Kaylor. Because nobody else can authenticate him other than, I mean, maybe someone else in the text chain. They might have called one of his buddy, one of Chippy Bear's buddies who was in the text chain. Tell me, my fellow attorneys in the chat, what other way could they be authenticated? I don't know. Got to think about it a little bit. My brain is kind of like mushy right now. It's mushy. Been here all day. We did Karen Reed this morning. We're doing Tuerk. Dan's just here for the snark. I'll allow it. I will absolutely allow it. You can just come for the snark and you could stay for the rest of it. Stay for all of it. You're in it for the long haul, Dan. You can't leave now. You're too invested. You're very, very invested. All right, my friends. Thank you so very much for the moderators for keeping it classy today. I just got an alert on my phone that the Alexander brothers are begging for bail. If you don't know about the Alexander brothers, I've done one stream on it already. It is twins and a singleton, brothers who are super uber wealthy with homes all over the place, who were maybe involved in some, let's say, sexy time trafficking of women that they would fly to the Hamptons and Miami and forcibly roofie, and then perhaps maybe have, forcible with. And then it seems like they are still begging for bail. In fact, one of the brothers offered like $115 million. And the judge is like, yeah, no, 115 million doesn't matter. You're not getting out. So maybe we can cover that tomorrow. The Alexander brothers, gross. Go back. I already did a stream on it. If you're not familiar with it, go back and watch it. It's crazy. Moderators, thank you. Everyone smash the like button on your way out. I promise you, none of those guys are going to get your DNA. Scott guarantees it. Thank you for being here with me for most of the day. And stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. I'm going to see it again tomorrow because I'm sure we're going to want to do part 2 on this. I also want to do the Menendez brothers resentencing petition before the end of the month because that is coming up for a hearing, and I forget the date of that. But I think we should go over the petition because there's a lot of information in there that many of us who watched the original trial all the way back in the 90s might have forgotten about. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy, smash the subscribers button because it's free and because it's just like the nice thing to do. Do all the things that YouTube likes. Thank you. I appreciate you guys and I love you with all of my heart. See you real soon. If I don't see you soon, I'm gonna die. Make sure you set the notifications and, see you soon. Peace. That's what I do.